Noswathar, a very good evening from a rather windy and fairly wet Stoke Kai Ras. Friday night lights for Wrexham this week. Old adversaries Birmingham City making the relatively short journey to North Wales. A crackling atmosphere expected inside the famous old stadium. We just hope the rain holds off so Phil Parkinson's side can square up to the team of Chris Davis and renew acquaintances from last season. Andy Morell and Mia Roberts, a very good evening to you both on what is a fairly unpleasant night in North Wales, but at least at the moment, Andy, it's not raining. It's been a good week for Phil Parkinson, though, so far. You were at Leicester on Tuesday night. That should give good momentum, you'd hope, coming into this one.
Yeah, it was a really good point. First half, we hung in there, dug in there, really gritty. And then in the second half, we just ended up dominating quite a bit of, not possession, but chances in that second half. We were able to just create break on them, and Broadhead, being the super sub that he is, comes on, scores the goal and has another couple of maybe half chances to maybe nick a win down there. But they'll be really buoyed by that performance and really looking forward to this one, because I think these will pose similar problems to what Leicester did.
Mia, we'll talk about Birmingham in more detail in a little while, but just briefly to kick things off this evening, two sides so similar in trajectory in the last season and a bit, and another team who have filled their summer with new signings and a very changed dressing room from the one that we saw play Wrexham last year.
Yeah, you know, a number of faces that we do recognise. You know, thankfully for us on comms, we didn't have to do too much, you know, extra research. But no, you know, they've made some really good signings, and I think that was a challenge for them, because I think a number of people last year were saying they've already got that Championship side, and that's going to be tested this year in terms of, you know, their sort of promotion credentials. So I think it'll be really interesting to see how they get on. Obviously, so far they've been a bit up and down. You know, performances, results haven't all gone their way like they did last year. So that's a new challenge for someone like Chris Davis as well.
Let's have a look then at the Wrexham team named by Phil Parkinson's for this evening's battle with Birmingham City, because Parkinson makes just the one alteration to the team who dug out that point at Leicester City on Tuesday night. Lewis Brunt makes way for Callum Doyle in that left centre-back role. Otherwise, it is the same starting 11 who earned the point at the King Power Stadium. Change on the bench sees a return for Dan Scarr in place of Connor Cody. But otherwise, those who excelled, particularly in the second half in midweek, are given the opportunity to take the shirt again. Chris Davis, on the other hand, making 5 changes to his Birmingham City side tonight, including in goal. Mia, quick thoughts on the Wrexham side pick this evening?
Yeah, I wasn't too surprised. I think I was expecting maybe 1 or 2. I wasn't necessarily expecting it to be Brunt going out for Callum Doyle. Obviously, that was always the option that was there, but I thought maybe it would be Josh Windass for Nathan Broadhead. But then you look at that one and you go, well, we've been talking about last few weeks, obviously, with how well Josh Windass has been doing with Kieffer Moore, and where does Broadhead fit in? But then could this be a bit of a role for him in terms of that super sub, like Andy called him, you know, previously? Because he came on and he offers something different to Josh Windass, and he was brilliant when he came on Tuesday night. I think, you know, it's clear to see that cup goal, you know, gave him so much confidence, and again Tuesday night he looked, you know, really on top form.
Yeah, I think Windass, with his injury, he had a big bad bruise, didn't he, on his ankle, and he showed on his Instagram and stuff. But I think possibly Phil Parkinson's thought, well, if I start him and he breaks down, I've got Broadhead to go to on the bench, rather than maybe bringing him on with half an hour to go and him breaking down and having to go double sub, if you like. So I think he'll just start him, just give me everything for 60, and we know we've got Broadhead ready to go on the bench whenever needed.
I think the Lewis Brunt one's an interesting one as well, though, because I thought, again, he was good on Tuesday night. I think the only thing you could obviously pick out is the goal. Yeah. Which, again, listen, I think it's always tough in that scenario. I think we know Lewis Brunt as a defender, he loves to jump on that one and try and win it back and then go forward. You know, he's young, that's the sort of style of play he loves to do. But when you're up against that quality in opposition, the likes of Jordan James, who they just, you know, I mean, you know, so quick on the ball, then, you know, he got caught out, and maybe that's what's cost him his place tonight.
Yeah, and Phil said a couple of weeks ago, didn't he, that he thought Callum Doyle was just a little bit behind Lewis Brunt in terms of physical conditioning, and perhaps that time has given Brunt, or as rather has given Doyle, the opportunity to make up that gap on Lewis Brunt. Just knock that ball back in there. Look at that, never lose it. Did you see that?
Quality.
Thank you. Phil Parkinson has been talking to us before this game. Will Pritchard has been asking him the questions.
Phil, speaking to you ahead of your side's clash against Birmingham City at the Stoke Kairos, how are you feeling ahead of tonight?
Yeah, looking forward to the game. You know, under the lights, we always love these nights at the Stoke Kairos Stadium, and I'm sure tonight's going to be a cracking advert for the Championship.
You just talk through your team. Callum Doyle obviously coming back into the starting lineup this evening.
Yeah, I thought we got a lot of high energy players. We brought them off early in the second half, so we felt they were ready to go, the lads who came off, so and keeping that threat from the bench. And Doyley's trained well, and I feel he's ready for his opportunity tonight.
It's a game that needs no billing. The media will do that anyways, but in terms of Birmingham City, what are you expecting from them in North Wales this evening?
Yeah, they're very similar to last year, really. The 4-2-3-1. One of the wide players plays inside, the other one plays high and wide. So more or less what they did last season. A few different players, obviously, but a lot of familiar faces from last year.
For you and your side, you'll obviously want to go into the international break on a high. What do you need to do to make sure you can do that?
Yeah, I think take the qualities we've shown in recent weeks into tonight's game, and the work of the team, the structure against Leicester was very good, and it needed to be. But also show that quality when we got the ball. It's a windy old night. I'd imagine Jack Robinson's going to be throwing the ball in the box. Our set plays will be important going forward as well. Make sure we're strong in both boxes. But yeah, it's doing both sides of the game to the best of our ability, and having a focus about the individuals you're playing against. How can we get the better of them offensively, but how can we hurt them in terms of the attacking areas? And like every game, that's what we've looked at, and we'll see if we can implement it tonight.
Thanks, Phil. Best of luck.
Thank you.
Phil Parkinson giving us his thoughts ahead of tonight's match with Birmingham City. If you're just joining us on Match Day Live, Parkinson has made just the one change from the starting 11 who were able to dig out that point at Leicester City in midweek. Callum Doyle returning in place of Lewis Brunt. Interesting, Mia, I thought that Phil picked out Jack Robinson amongst the thoughts pre-match there, and his ability to hurl long throws into the Wrexham box. Not something that we have faced too often this season, but as we stand here under Tozer's Tower, the floodlight named after Wrexham's former proponent of the same technique, it'll be something for the back three in particular to be ready for tonight.
Yeah, definitely. I think that was one of the signings that maybe went a bit under the radar for Birmingham in terms of a bit of a different one, a bit of a maybe Phil Parkinson type of signing, if you like, in terms of bringing that proper experience and level-headedness. Obviously, after they lost Ben Davis, someone they had on loan last year, had a really good partnership with someone like Clara, and they just weren't able to sort that deal out for him this year. But no, Jack Robinson, very, very good, experienced player. Obviously played at Premier League level, and yeah, those long throws are certainly a weapon, and that's obviously something we don't necessarily see that much in the game anymore, so that'll be a challenge. But I like to think today, I look at our side, we've got a lot of height, we've got a lot of power in the air. Our aerial duels are very, very good in terms of the stats. I know Birmingham have obviously brought in Lyndon Dykes, so that could be a real threat for them going forward. But I'd like to think we've got enough quality to deal with that, but it's definitely something else for us to think about.
I think Phil Parkinson in his interview saying that he's delighted with his work rate of his players. I think he's seen in the last two games that they are working tirelessly for each other, and I think he'll be most pleased about. We've only conceded 4 shots on target, I think, in the last 2 games, whereas at the first 4 or 5 games we were up 12, 13 shots, above that. So he'll be delighted how much we've tightened up the new shape that they're just getting used to, and can we now take that on from those draws and just nick into those wins now.
Yeah, Mia, 1 defeat in 8 matches in all competitions, but obviously only 2 wins in 8 in the league. It is so tight, the Championship, as it always seems to be every year. I remember last year, about 3 weeks from the end of the season, there was only 1 team who couldn't either make the playoffs or possibly go down. So we're seeing perhaps a similar pattern emerge already. But I think when we look at the form that Wrexham have been in recent weeks, it does look like there is a pattern coming together, there is a way of playing coming together, and as Andy says, a team that are starting to adjust to the rhythms of this level.
Yeah, I think so, and I think from game 1 we said that we saw really good signs. Even in pre-season before we made a lot of the signings, the team still looked fit and still looked ready to go, and that's something that hasn't changed under Parkinson. That's something that you wouldn't ever expect to change under Phil Parkinson. So all the signs are there. It's just about giving the players time, and I think people have to be patient, because when you bring in the number of players we have recruited, that it would be crazy to expect that to just happen overnight. But to be fair
He's
to
under
them,
pressure.
Well,
yeah, okay.
Yeah, it's crazy. But then, I mean, look how it changes in a matter of weeks. You pick up a few results, and then suddenly you look at tonight's opposition, Birmingham, but some Birmingham fans going, well, Chris Davis is actually under pressure if he doesn't get something here tonight, and you suddenly go, wow, after 111 points last season
exactly.
and what he did.
You thought he might have earned a little bit of credit in the bank for that.
Yeah,
perhaps.
it's a bit of a crazy sort of industry really when you look at it like that. But no, I think there'll be lots of confidence coming into this one tonight. I think they've got to have that, and they've sort of shown that over the last few weeks. I think that confidence that we deserve to be here. We've got players who've played at this level, and we back ourselves.
Wrexham with a 3-goal win tonight can climb as high as 8th. This game, of course, being played ahead of tomorrow's Saturday programme. It's the only match in the Championship tonight. We'll have a look at some of the other fixtures this weekend in a short while. But Mia was mentioning the integration of new signings at Wrexham, and in tonight's head-to-head we can have a look at one of those in profile, because Dominic Hyam came in from Blackburn Rovers towards the end of the summer transfer window. He was a player who the Blackburn fans clearly were very sad to lose, and joined the club at the age of 29, so a good amount of experience at both Championship level and internationally with Scotland. We've got up against him tonight on the graphic Christoph Klara, the Austrian centre-back for Birmingham City, who was so prominent for them in their race to that title last year, picking up those 111 points, which Mia mentions. Look at those clearance stats, Mia, and the aerial dominance of Christoph Klara. He was a talisman for Birmingham at the back last year. He's made the step up this year, and he's right at the top of the stats again so far this season.
Yeah, he's superb. I think we spoke a lot about him last season, obviously, as being a huge player for Birmingham. I know, obviously, Jay Stansfield was the top of a lot of people's lists, but, he, for me, is equally important, if not more. I think he's probably the sole reason why Birmingham got a point here last year rather than 0. He was exceptional that night and was for the most of the season, really. Birmingham haven't been perfect defensively this year, but he's dragged them to get the points that they have really so far. They've got a few mistakes in at the back. They haven't been helped by the fact Chris Davis has sort of chopped and changed it at times, and that's just not for the back four. That's throughout the team really, and that doesn't help a team when you are chopping and changing it as much as he has done. Obviously he's done that again tonight with a few with Awata, for example, coming in at right back. But Klara, he's a top professional, and I expect if Birmingham don't maybe make that step up in the next few years, that he probably will.
I was surprised that they didn't make Ben Davis's loan permanent as well in the summer. Ended up going to Oxford, because those two had a really good rapport, different types of players, but together they had a really good relationship, and I was just surprised that they let that one slip through their fingers and they've gone for other targets.
And Dom Hyam, Andy, coming into that central role in the back three. As a player there, I guess it's partly about doing your own job and clearly being good in the air, but it's largely as well about organising who's on the left and right of you. Not too tight that you get exposed wide, but not too wide to leave gaps coming between you. And having a player of his experience clearly is what has attracted Phil Parkinson to move in the market for him. Yeah,
absolutely. And his reputation, if you like, when he came here was that he's never amazing and he's never really bad. He is just steady state 7 out of 10, and he just plays games. His availability is his best ability, if you like, and he just has gone in there like he's been here for 3 or 4 years, and he has 2 young boys at the standard at this level next to him, and he has just directed them. He's been brilliant himself. He's headed everything that he's needed to. He's cleared everything that he's needed to. He can play a little bit as well, and he has just come in and made that position his own, because he's got fierce competition with Cody in there as well, and Dan Scarr, and so he's just come in, took it and gone, it's mine, and he's running with it.
Well, we mentioned Christoph Klara being a key player for Birmingham when these sides met here last season. Birmingham, of course, had beaten Wrexham quite comfortably in the first fixture between the two sides at St Andrews. But when it came to the return game, it was a very different story. And one of the most entertaining games played on the racecourse all season. Let's have a reminder of how it played out the last time these two met here at the Stoke Kairas.
Laird will get there, but Lee is on his back, and Laird is having to protect the ball before scooping out a clearance. It's not just a clearance, it's a good ball to right, but he can't pick out May. Hurried past by O'Connor, doesn't find Palmer. Been challenged by Palmer, though, wins it, and Rathbone can hit this. He kills it. Oh, what a goal! What a goal! Holly Rathbone, take a bow.
1-0 Wrexham.
Well, Well, I think it's a free kick, Mark. You know, the way that he's gone through the back of it, but the ref's played on him. I think Ollie Palmer's more surprised than anybody to see that the ref's not pulled it back, but carry on. And what he does do is, though, he uses the defender brilliantly to just bend the ball around into that far corner. Keeper doesn't see it till it's already halfway there, and then he can't muster a dive to get there. That, for me, is a free kick. But then Ollie Rathbone brilliantly wriggles his way out and then bends a fantastic shot into that far corner. Out for a corner.
Another corner to the far post. Is a free header. It's in. Now, was it offside? No, it's a goal. Header at the far post. And it was headed on target. A player very close to the goal line nodded it in.
Well, they had a warning, didn't they, before, where they peeled around the back. Lyndon Dykes right around the back. All he has to do is head it back towards goal and hope, and it does. It goes through, ricochets off somebody, maybe looking like it's come off Alfie May in the melee in the middle, and he's put it in for 1-1.
O'Connor whips the ball in to the far post. It's a decent header and a chance for a shot for Rathbone, but it's just over. Here he is again, and he hits the shot, and the keeper has to parry. Gets a loose ball. 15 yards out, for which Barnett takes quickly. Lee cuts inside nicely onto his left foot. He lays the ball off to James, quickly out to Barnett again. On the right hand side, rips in an early one. It's an awkward one for the keeper, who has to tip it over. Fletcher continues, corner ripped in with pace, over the save! Ludicrous save that. Flicked on by McLean at the near post. Hell of a save that. What can Wrexham do here? O'Connor whips it to the far post, nicely headed towards goal. It's saved, drops loose, and it squirts wide, corner. What can O'Connor deliver? Whips it in to the near post. Good defensive header that. Oh, it's goal kick given.
No way.
No way. That was a terrific defensive header to put it over the bar, surely.
They're certainly not the same team, are they, without Iwata in the team? That they tick under him, and he's like a pendulum. He keeps the ball, but they don't keep it as well without him.
That's really well won by Jukiewicz, and Dykes drives it and puts it just wide. Cleworth hurls it towards the near post, and it's headed into the goal mouth. Mullen can't win it. It's cleared. McLean flicks it into the goal mouth, and it'll be hacked away by Clara. And that is the final whistle. And wow, that wasn't bad, was it? That, what a performance by Wrexham in the second half particularly, but overall 1-1 the final score. Brilliant stuff.
All square then, this time last season. Wrexham 1, Birmingham City 1, and that was a performance, Andy, when we look back in the context of the season coming just after the Christmas break, that really set Wrexham, I think, on a belief mission that said, well, if we can hold our own against the runaway leaders here, then sustaining a challenge for a second automatic spot is well on.
Yeah, I massively agree, and to what they did to us at their ground as well, of how dominant they were over us in that 3-1 win, for us to come back and really give it to them and take it to them, and we were bombarding them. It just shows you there how important Clara was in that game, how many balls he headed out of his own box. We just put it on them, and I think that was a real start of our belief that, well, hang on a sec, we are right up there as one of the better teams in this league. Can we go and nick that second spot out of all the teams that are around us?
Mia, Ollie Rathbone on target that night. We saw him having a bit of a warm-up tonight with Ryan Hardy, neither of them making the 20. What do you think Ollie's road back into this Wrexham starting 11 might look like in the coming weeks?
Yeah, it's difficult, isn't it? Because it's hard who to chuck him in against. I think obviously it works quite well at the moment in terms of timing of the international break. He's got sort of 2 weeks or so going forward to maybe get a game with a few of the younger ones, or just get some minutes in his legs where he can. Stop Amy's trying to take us out here, but
hang in there, Mia. Hang in there.
I know, I'm only small.
It's causing murder with
that
my
was
hair.
A gust. Oh, I can see, Andy. Better step out the studio for a minute and get it sorted.
But no, he's obviously a massive player for us. I think, speaking about the importance of Clara for Birmingham in that game, the importance of Ollie Rathbone for us in that game, he just absolutely ran the show, and he led every single bit of pressure. I thought that our intensity for that game was unbelievable, like nothing you'd sort of ever seen here. I thought obviously the fans played a huge part in that, but the other driving force was Ollie Rathbone. And it's interesting now to see that sort of maybe Lewis O'Brien's taken on that mantle slightly this season, but he's a massive player for us, and I'd love to see him back in this 11 and doing what he was doing last year on the championship stage.
Well, the two men in the dugouts last time these teams faced each other will be the same two tonight. Let's have a little look in profile against the two managers, Phil Parkinson and Chris Davis. And I think if it's helpful when you're looking at the statistics on this graphic in terms of win percentage, Sir Alex Ferguson, arguably the most successful manager of the modern era, particularly over the longest time, averaged a win percentage of around 65% when he was at Manchester United. So that's hopefully a handy yardstick. Any manager who is above around 55 is really doing extremely well. So Parkinson at 60.2, Chris Davis at a whopping 68.6. Mia, you were making the comment just now that there was a few Birmingham City fans seemingly snooping around social media, questioning Davis's credentials in the early weeks of this season, but those stats wouldn't suggest that a change imminently would be what you'd hope Tom Wagner was thinking about.
You'd hope not. I mean, you know, I hate to see that sort of happen when a manager's done so well and, like you say, it has credit in the bank, and then suddenly people expect to just win every single game like they did last year. But, you know, last year was an anomaly, if we're being honest, wasn't it? I mean, they were just that level above that they were just expected. Almost before a whistle was blown, they had the 3 points in their pocket and were on their way back to Birmingham, really. But no, I think Chris Davis is a top manager. I think the problem he'll face this year is it's very different to last year in the sense that it's a lot more challenging. He's got a lot more problems. He's got to manage a losing team at times, you know, when his team's out of form, which he hasn't dealt with before. Obviously, this is his first senior job in management. You know, before this, he's only coached at Spurs, you know, under the likes of Ange Postecoglou and Brendan Rodgers in another role as well. So he's got some great experiences under his belt, but has he got the experiences of actually Championship week in, week out when you've lost a few, you know, heads are a bit down in the dressing room? You know, how does he manage that? Can he rally around his players and, you know, can he respond?
They're out of different stables as well. One very, very possession-based football in Davis, and whereas Phil Parkinson is a little bit more, let's get it, play up to front man, let's play off them and let's go and cause problems up in that final third that way. And so, but it just proves that there are different ways of skinning a cat, if you like, and winning promotions out of leagues, and Wrexham have shown that, and so did Birmingham last year. Like Mia says, it's a completely different kettle of fish, though, this lot in this league, because they can tear you apart at the quickest and speediest of transitions, and so you've got to be ready. And so they're finding it just as difficult as we did at the start, and now both of us are just trying to find our feet again.
This match, an 8 o'clock kick-off tonight, Wrexham against Birmingham City. Chris Davis making 5 changes to the team, who just about managed to scrape a draw in midweek with a 99th minute equaliser against Sheffield Wednesday. That includes a change in goal where James Beadle comes in for Ryan Allsop. Jay Stansfield, though, their talismanic striker from last season, does start in attack. Well, we mentioned that Tuesday was a point very well earned by Phil Parkinson's side. A comeback at the King Power Stadium in front of almost 30,000, including over 2,000 making the trip from North Wales. Let's have a reminder of how that point was won. All square then at the King Power in midweek, and Nathan Broadhead with that late chance almost giving Wrexham all 3 points. But I think the general agreement amongst the Wrexham faithful was that that was a very good point earned. Mia, when Phil was discussing the match afterwards, he cited the bench and the impact they'd had. Do you think this season we're going to see more of a kind of 16-man effort more often? So the 5 subs that Phil's allowed to use coming on earlier in the game as a general rule than perhaps we saw last year?
Yeah, I think so. Andy touched on it, earlier in the show about how hard Phil has got this team working. We saw it on Tuesday night when Kieffer Moore got brought off. He literally couldn't walk. He was, he was absolutely, goosed. And I think, that's where we've got that power now off the bench. We've always had squad depth in terms of obviously the signings we've brought in. I think back to last season, someone like Stephen Fletcher, when he was warming up, you could feel it in the crowd. When he then came on that raw, have we got someone like that? And I think Nathan Broadhead, like I said earlier, could be that man. Listen, I don't think he'll want to be that man. I think he'll want to be starting, up alongside whoever it may be. But, at the moment, maybe that is his role, and that might become something he does embrace. But listen, I thought Matty James was another one exceptional when he came on Tuesday night. I think, he's obviously determined to try and get that role back off Ben Sheaf, and that's another really interesting sort of competition we've got going on in the squad right now.
Andy, the pattern of the season, looking at it with the international breaks, it's a little bit peaks and troughs, isn't it? Because after tonight, unless the likes of Broadhead and Moore, who are going off to play for Wales, are clearly playing competitive football, for many of the players there'll be a rest all the way until the match against Stoke City on the 18th, and then we start getting into another intense period again with midweek games. How do you think that changes the approach to strength and conditioning work that Wrexham will be doing to optimise the availability of the players?
Well, I think that goes back to your last point of using the whole squad, because we're in bursts and it's fragmented with 4 or 5 games, then 2-week break, 4 or 5 games. You're just going to have to use and patch together your team each time because they come so quick in quick succession, if you like, and then get them rested, get them recuperated, and then we look to the next block of 5 games. And I'm sure that they've looked at and periodised it in that way and say, right, how many points are we looking for from this set of 4 or 5? And then we move on to the next set of 4 or 5, and can we hit targets throughout the season that will get us to where we want to be?
Well, there's a full programme of fixtures this weekend in the Championship before the players disappear far and wide in many cases for the international break. This is the only match tonight, but a full programme tomorrow which we can take a little look at now. And probably the standout match there, if we look at the weekend's fixtures tomorrow, Andy, might be the third one down. Sheffield Wednesday, defying all odds at the moment to stay competitive in such difficult circumstances, up against one of your former sides, Coventry City, who under Frank Lampard have forced their way up to second in the table and are looking very tasty at the moment. Yeah, they're going very, very well, and if they can't win, they don't lose at the moment, and they are scoring goals as well. I think Coventry are looking as one of the favourites to get out of this league at the moment. But Sheffield Wednesday, on the other hand, they're fighting for their lives, and they seem to be playing with a freedom at the moment that is, OK, there's rumours they're not being paid again, and there's things going on at the club behind the scenes that is a bit car crash, to be honest. But what they are doing on the pitch is they're producing some football that is, they're going out and doing their best for their fans, and the fans are really right behind them, which is amazing to see. And they're producing some decent football, and they were unlucky against Birmingham on the weekend just to lose in that 98th minute or whatever. And so, fair play to them, because it takes a lot when you're not getting paid and you're not, paying the bills at home, to just go out and produce like they have been doing, and absolute fair play to them. Let's have a look at the league table then as we go into tonight's fixture, because Wrexham have the chance to move up a number of places with a victory. Phil Parkinson's side start tonight's fixture in 15th place in the league. We can see there in the league table the opportunity for Wrexham is to move into the top half tonight. A win could take them up as high as 8th if they are able to win by 3 clear goals. Let's have a look at the top half of the table. Birmingham City are found in 11th spot at the moment, but they also will be looking mere at the opportunity of what a win could do for them tonight because it could propel them there up to 5th spot. Clearly a lot of these games are still to be played tomorrow, but at least overnight that would give Chris Davis, I think, a reasonably solid position in a press conference if he's questioned at all about his position.
Well, yeah, that's another reason why I'd point out, just the ridiculousness of it, really. I was talking to one of my friends who's a Birmingham fan, and he was saying, well, people are talking about his job, and we win tonight, we're another point or something closer to second. It's quite ridiculous, really. But, I think another thing for Wrexham tonight is we can leapfrog Birmingham, I think that's another thing, not that we're, desperate to be close to them or anything, but, that's another sort of, you mention that to your players and go, well, you go above these tonight, and these are tipped to be right up there. So, as long as you're competing and you're around that sort of position, I think you're just fine. And, I mean, we saw it on Tuesday night. I think there was only 2 wins from almost a sort of full fixture list. It was mostly draws. Points just get lost every single week from those you expect to win and those you expect. It's just a crazy sort of league. It's so competitive, and that's what makes it so exciting.
Well, this week, a former Wrexham talismanic centre-forward hung up his boots. A very happy retirement to Steve Fletcher, who announced on social media that his race was run after nearly 700 appearances. Thank you, Steve, for what you brought in your time at Wrexham. You, for sure, left your mark. I don't think a player coming off the bench has had more impact more often than Fletcher did over a consistent period. Certainly one of the heroes in the last 2 promotions. And Fletcher's successor here at the Stoke Kairas is Kieffer Moore. The Welsh international striker has made a goal-scoring start to his time in a red shirt. He'll head off shortly for a double international break as Wales square up to Belgium and to England. But before he started to think about that, Matt Waters caught up with him before tonight's game.
Well, Kieffer, one day out from facing Birmingham City, how were you in the group feeling ahead of tomorrow's game?
Yeah, really good. Obviously, off the back of a good performance against Leicester away. Yeah, we're in good spirits, obviously coming away with a point. Yeah, happy.
It was an important point, and it just shows again that accumulation of points are built over the next few games, which really stands us in good stead for tomorrow, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think you can see the run of results, not just the results, just the way we've been playing recently is really good. We've come a long way since the first game of the season, and I think you can really tell how much the team has bonded and gelled. Obviously, we had a lot of new faces, including myself, but I think standing in good stead for this game.
What are the ways that yourself and the group have sort of done to help gelling together? Is it by playing, or is it anything outside of the dressing room as well?
Yes, I think everything's down to repetition. It's just training, games. Everything comes thick and fast in this league. So, of course, everyone's used to that, and it's almost just become second nature. And you spend a lot of time with each other. You learn, not just on the pitch, but off the pitch as well, which really builds relationships.
For you personally, you must be really pleased with the start you've made in front of goal.
Yeah, definitely, yeah. And I think for me now, it's just to carry on. Of course, for all of us, we want to do the best we can, and I'm delighted with the start I've had, but there's room for improvement.
Tomorrow night here at the Stoke Kairas under the lights against Birmingham should be a cracking atmosphere, shouldn't it?
Yeah, one that we're looking forward to, so definitely be a good game.
In terms of Birmingham, what do you make of them and their start to the season so far?
I think they're a great side. You can only look at their squad. They've got a really good squad as well. Loads of talented players. I expect a difficult game to their start of the season. Yeah, it's been maybe a little bit stop and start for them, but they're maybe just getting used to the league as they've had a big haul of players come as well.
It was a lovely moment on Tuesday night. We saw the photo of yourself and Nathan Broadhead celebrating his first league goal for the club against Leicester. Yeah,
definitely. I'm delighted for Broadie. Yeah, he's I've known him for a long time now, and a player that I've always been fond of, and it was a great goal and a goal we needed, and obviously off the back of should have maybe been 2 goals in the cup, but unlucky not to get the second one.
And tomorrow night, the final league game before we hit the international break, it'd be perfect time to get our first home league win. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we've been close a couple of times now, so to get that first home win, there'd be no sweeter occasion under the lights.
Kieffer Moore giving his thoughts to Matt Waters ahead of tonight's match. Moore once more in the number 9 role for Wrexham this evening. One aspect about Kieffer Moore so far, Mia, has been his availability. He's had a couple of knocks in games and we've wondered, is that him out for the next one? But his bounce back ability certainly appears to be another strong trait. If he does miss a match, who do you think in this new system is likeliest to take that number 9 slot at the moment?
At the moment, I think you'd probably go Windass and Broadhead. But, you know, when you've got someone like Ryan Harder, who's maybe a bit more similar to Moore, but then, you know, he's again not in the squad. So, you know, do you then look at someone like Sam Smith to come in and do a bit of a different sort of role, or, you know, maybe look at just tweaking the system slightly? But, you know, Kieffer Moore, he basically gets battered pretty much every game. You know, I've obviously watched him for Wales over the last few years, and I don't remember watching him in a Wales game where he hasn't come off with a red headband strapped around his head after taking a battering.
A warrior, isn't he?
He is, yeah, he is absolutely that, and he has to do that for us. You know, like I said previously, is you know, the amount of aerial duels he's won is ridiculous. But even if he's not winning them, he's competing with the defender so much that sometimes, you know, it leads to an opportunity for someone like Lewis O'Brien or just Windass from them being close to him to get straight on the ball as well. So, you know, it's just so positive. His movement's brilliant. I think tonight it'll be interesting. You know, he stays on that sort of right centre back. I think tonight maybe he might favour more the Robinson side, because we know how strong Clara is in the air. But that'll be an interesting one to see. Obviously, he hasn't scored in the last 2, but I think again, you know, it's a one tonight you can get yourself up for quite easily, and, you know, hopefully then getting back, well, still going in with form into the international break as well for Wales.
And Andy, one aspect of Birmingham's setup tonight, 5 changes, and we think Iwata, who's so impressed for Birmingham in both games against Wrexham last year in midfield, will slot in at right back tonight. If you take the standard mantra in sport, which is try and do what the opposition least want you to do, would you have thought Phil Parkinson might have smiled a bit when he saw that team list, thinking, great, Iwata's less of a threat at right back than he is in midfield?
Yeah, I would have thought so. He was excellent last year. Him and Paik in midfield had a really good relationship. We spoke about Clara at the back with Davis. Those two had the same in midfield, and they were championship ability at the time. He just hasn't found his feet this season quite yet, and they're struggling at right back a little bit, so they've moved him out there. I think it will be similar to how Chowdhury played it on Tuesday, where when in possession they can go into midfield and add an extra body and make it more difficult. But we've already got 4 players in there, so it will just marry us up, if you like. But that means that our 2 wide foot wing backs, they have to be bang on it and deal 1v1 with their wingers. And we did that on Tuesday night, and it's going to be same as again tonight.
Andy Meir, thank you for now. I'll let you head off and pick up your commentary duties with Mark Griffiths ahead of kick-off. So don't forget tonight, if you haven't yet sorted your iFollow pass, you can head to wrexhamafc.co.uk/live, and you will be able to tune in to Andy and Mia's observations alongside Mark with this match against Birmingham City, now just 5.5 minutes away. 8 o'clock kickoff at the Stoke Kairas tonight. One change only from Phil Parkinson. Callum Doyle coming in at left centre-back for Lewis Brunt. Chris Davis ringing the changes for Birmingham. Both of these sides could make significant progress up the championship table tonight with a win. But which of the two will come out on top? Well, we'll get a perspective halfway through the match back here on the same link on YouTube at half-time. And, of course, we'll be back with all the analysis and reaction, same place at full-time. So enjoy the game, and we hope to have your company in around 50 minutes' time. Bye for now. Welcome back to Matchday Live. Half-time here at the Stoke Kairas. It's Wrexham 1, Birmingham City 0. George Dobson's close-range header in the 13th minute. The difference between these two sides. Wrexham having the better of the opening 45 and asking plenty of questions to the Birmingham City back line. After a relatively quiet opening, the match really exploded into life around the 12th minute. Initially, Ryan Longman got a shot which was deflected over. Then a good save from James Beadle denied Lewis O'Brien. And then Josh Windass had a shot which went for a corner. And from that corner, Max Cleworth jumped highest with a powerful header, and Dobson, lurking just a couple of yards from the line, turned it in from point-blank range. In truth, Wrexham probably should have had a second 6 minutes later. Lewis O'Brien getting on the end of a misplaced pass from Mark Leonard. He was one-on-one with Beadle, but on this occasion the former Nottingham Forest midfielder couldn't finish, and it remained just one goal between these teams. Birmingham have had a couple of moments themselves. Patrick Roberts cutting in from the right with a jinking run and a shot that was deflected away. And Arthur Okonkwo called into duty really on one occasion seriously in that first half, when Damari Gray made a cut inside from the left, created the space for a shot for himself, but Okonkwo read it well, diving away to his right to parry it away for a corner. Wrexham then with the advantage at half-time. Mia Roberts and Andy Morrell have been on commentary. Mia, how would you summarise that Wrexham performance?
For me, one of the best first halves we've seen so far this season in terms of obviously a Wrexham perspective. I thought they were brilliant, in terms of their shape, in terms of going forward. I think, again, just the amount of chances we are creating, it's so good to see. And, I think the disappointment from it is we probably should be maybe 2-3 ahead. I think that's probably what will be the only negative from that first half. I think defensively, I think we looked really strong again. I think Callum Doyle's gone straight back in and done really well. As if he's sort of stayed in the side. You wouldn't know he's just coming back in. And we've kept him really quiet. I think again Ryan Longman defensively has been really good. I think the only time he has given Iwata that little bit of space when he made that sort of diving header, and then it's opened up for Iwata. He's put that good ball in, and maybe Damari Gray should do a little bit better for a player of his quality nearing the end of the half. But no, I think Phil Parkinson will be absolutely delighted. The energy levels that they're putting in, as we've seen so far this season, right, really top, right up there. So no, I think he'll be really happy. And yeah, I think the only disappointment, like I say, will be that it's not more than one.
Andy, who stood out for you for Wrexham in that opening 45?
I think all of them have been excellent, really, really good. I think they've got their tactics spot on. I think the shape's been really good. They've stopped the ball going in through that middle section of the pitch, and when they've gone to Clara, O'Brien's jumping, then Longman's jumping, and they're just stopping at the source and making them go back. As we talked about Birmingham being a possession team, but all their possession has been in their own half, really. They've not really caused us any problems moving forward. And our first chance of Longman, he can spring into that space that Iwata has vacated because he's moved into the middle of the pitch, and then he's 1v1 with Clara. He jinks past and gets his shot off, and that's the series of corners that leads to our goal. And it's a brilliant corner put in. Max Cleworth makes it his own. We talked about the difficulties Birmingham have had from set pieces in previous, I think 5 of their 10 have been conceded from set pieces. So it was a point, I think, for Phil Parkinson that if we do get one, let's make it count. And the first one was close, but the second one was even better. Dobson just nicking in front.
It's a Kabore, Mia. I've seen a lot of him where I've been stood in the first half. Every time he gets on the ball, you can feel the Mould Road stand almost gasp, stand up almost every time he's on the ball, because something exciting is going to happen. What's also stood out to me is he puts his foot down just as quickly to go backwards as he does forwards. He looks a serious asset. I
said exactly the same Tuesday night about, every time he got on the ball or the ball was going near him, there was a roar from that away end, and you can just feel there's that sort of expectance that, well, the ball's going to Kabore, something special is going to happen. But I totally agree. I think that was something, after he made his debut at Norwich, Phil Parkinson was quick to pick up on in the post-match about, listen, yeah, we know how good he looks going forward, but he also looks very, very good going back as well, and he's got that same eagerness to defend as much as he has to attack, and that's exactly what you'd ask for someone in that position, because it's so important, especially on nights like tonight when you're up against someone like Demarai Gray. But what's been so good about him tonight is obviously, you know, I think that was one of the areas I'd picked out, him versus Cochrane, but he's beaten Cochrane a few times down this side now, and that's forced Demarai Gray to come back, so that saves him a little bit in terms of his defensive duties, and that also obviously helps us when Demarai Gray's coming back here. It also allows for someone like Max Cleworth to come into that space that opens up for him. We saw that once on this side in that first half, and you know, we know when he goes forward, I mean, I know it wasn't necessarily intentional, but that from the goal, that takes Max up to 3 assists now this season. Obviously goals was something he added to his game last season, this year, you know, he's a bit of a talisman as well. So but no, I think, listen, Kabore, he's so exciting, and I think if he can just keep doing what he's doing like he has done so far in the Wrexham shirt, it'll go down certainly very well.
The Lewis O'Brien missed opportunity, Andy. First of all, a very good read from O'Brien to spot the opportunity to pick up on Leonard's loose pass. But having got himself in that position from a striker's perspective, how would you analyse what he did next and the save that came?
Well, I thought he used his body brilliantly. He got it right underneath Clara. He can't bring him down. He has to wait. So unfortunately, it's on his right foot, I think, just underneath him a little bit. But the keeper gambles. He goes down really early to just guess because he has to, and anything just up in the air, just above sort of knee height, and I think it goes in, and he just tries to slide it under the keeper, and the keeper's read it, and it bounces off him. It's really unfortunate. He reads it like you say, he jumps brilliantly to read the blind pass. We just can't quite finish to make it 2, and that would have been a brilliant first half, wouldn't it?
Chris Davis rung the changes pre-kick-off tonight, Mia, for Birmingham. He's got some potency on his bench. He's also got a team full of experience and full of quality with the likes of Gray and Stansfield, Roberts. What sort of changes do you think he'll be thinking about at half-time? Will they be tactical or will they be personnel?
It's interesting, you know, I don't think Birmingham have disgraced themselves. I just think Wrexham have set up pretty perfectly against them tactically, and you know, it comes back to what I was saying about, you know, having players like Kabore who suddenly force you Demarai Grays to go deeper, and you know, we've seen it this season with Birmingham. They're struggling to make chances as it is, so as soon as you bring in someone like him back, that's not going to, you know, help you in any sort of favour. But you know, I don't necessarily think they've used the sort of Lyndon Dykes player, you know, him coming in today. I don't think they've used him as well as they maybe could have in certain moments. He's just dropping into that hole, and that just means, you know, either Max or Callum Doyle are going to have to step on him, or obviously Dom Hyam, because our two are occupied. So I think if they try and use him a bit more second half, they could have a little bit more joy, because you haven't really seen, we did maybe in the first 5 minutes or so, that link up between him and Stansfield. But then, you know, obviously they've got so much quality on the bench as well. You look at someone like Lewis Kumas, obviously someone who Wrexham were slightly linked with as well,
yeah,
obviously another Welshman, so he's someone who could bring a bit more pace on either wing, and maybe another sort of, you know, someone to bring on against the likes of Kabore and try and nullify him a bit more as well.
Jay Stansfield has been quiet, Andy, hasn't he, in that first half? Why do you think that is? Has he been well marked, or is the quality of service into him just not been quite right?
Yeah, I don't think the service has been quite right for him. He's making those runs from the 9 position into the channels, in behind Doyle, and he's trying to make those runs, but they're not playing the ball to him. The build-up is so slow for Birmingham at the moment. They're just keeping the ball, which is their possession, which is the right thing sometimes to do. But at some point, he's going to get frustrated, because then he's at times making a great run and they're not playing it forward. He'll just get fed up of going, and he'll just say, "Oh, there's no point." They've got to be a little bit braver, I think, with it. They've got to move the ball a bit quicker, and then they've got to play forward when the opportunity arises and put him in a foot race, because he's probably quicker, as quick as Doyle, and put him in that foot race to get them up the pitch a little bit more.
If you're just joining us on Matchday Live, half-time here at the Stoke Kairas. It's Wrexham 1, Birmingham City 0. George Dobson, the man who the fans love to tell you is electric, heading home from close range after Max Cleworth's excellent header into the danger area. Don't forget, this weekend, Wrexham women's team are in action on Sunday. There's free coverage through the Wrexham AFC website via the iFollow service. 2 o'clock kickoff for Jenny Sugarman's side. The head coach taking her side down to South Wales to play Swansea City and to have the privilege of playing in the Swansea.com stadium. So a great opportunity to play on a first-rate surface. Make sure you give them a watch on Sunday as they try and continue what has been overall a very encouraging start to the season. 1-0 at half-time, Mia. Always good to have a lead, but I think Phil Parkinson will be super aware of the first 5 or 10 minutes of the second half to try and make sure that Birmingham don't suddenly wrestle the initiative and get themselves into a rhythm.
Yeah, and this is a Birmingham side that don't give up. I mean, you know, how many last-minute winners have we seen this season? How many last-minute winners did we see last season, or equalisers? You know, just to get that point over the line or whatever. So, you know, they're not going to. They've got that resilience. They've got that, you know, really strong mentality in that group, no matter what sort of form they're in. So, but you know, Phil Parkinson knows that. This Wrexham side knows that. I think, you know, for me going into the second half, they've just got to keep doing what they're doing. Maybe be a bit more calm at times. I think we've been very brave in possession, and that's what's got us a lot of progress in terms of getting up the pitch at times. And you know, that's sort of where Birmingham have gone wrong and where Wrexham have been very good. Like Andy said, Birmingham have played it a little bit safe. Maybe at times Wrexham needs to be a bit safer and try and just calm it down and, you know, kill a bit of that momentum at times just to, you know, sort of protect that lead. But, you know, we play so well when we've got that intensity. That's what we did last season, and we just couldn't get quite over the line. Can we do that today? You know, I'd like to think so.
Yeah, I just felt the first 10 minutes when we did get it back, we were a little bit sloppy with it. We weren't able to keep it. Birmingham did a real good press on us in that transition, and they were getting it back in our half. So the first 10 minutes was a bit sticky. We weren't in any problem under the pressure, but we just kept giving the ball away a little bit. But then once we got the goal and we got out and Longman started to get on the ball a little bit more, then I felt that we were in complete control of that second half, even though we didn't have as much of the ball as we probably would have liked.
Andy Meir, thank you very much. We'll let you go and resume commentary duties. We'll see you at full time. It gives me the opportunity just to have a look at the half-time statistics as we wind up for Matchday Live in the half-time interval here, as the wind from Storm Amy really starts to rattle around the stadium. I wonder what part that might play in the second half. It really is getting very gusty here. And we can see, well, Birmingham have had 2/3 of the ball in that first half, but they haven't managed to use it. Only 5 shots to Wrexham's 9, just the one clear-cut chance. Forcing more corners, but in truth, only really one save for Arthur Okonkwo to make, that one from Demari Gray. Have a look now at the defensive statistics, just as we start to wrap up things at half-time. Players due back out any moment now and starting to make their way out of the tunnel. Birmingham having to make more tackles in that first half, but it's Wrexham who have had the better of the aerial duels by 70-30. And if that stays through the second half, that will certainly give Wrexham every chance of holding on for all 3 points. Players are making their return then. 45 minutes left in this one. Can Wrexham hold off Birmingham in this second half and project themselves up the championship table? Or has Chris Davis got an answer or two for his old adversary, Phil Parkinson? We'll know all those answers in about 50 minutes' time. Please rejoin us. Same link then. Bye for now.
Room over here.
a slight let off.
Well done, Sid.
I'm fully stopped now. Mate, I got fucking jeans on. Put it over. There you go.
Let's go! Sorry. Yeah, you're right.
The official attendance at the Stoke House tonight, 10,669. Our grateful thanks to the 1,287 away fans. We hope you have a safe journey home. And thank you all for your fantastic support. In the game that's our Stokehouse, and our annual game over there, and erbyn Oxford United. It has been done tap and Fletcher in Bowie. But the next home game here at the Stokehouse is on October 22nd, when Oxford United are the visitors for our Skynet Championship match, which will kick off at 7:45 p.m. Please do take care when you leave the stick. Just like that.
you pass me the stuff.
Full time here at the Stoke Kairas, and it has finished Wrexham 1, Birmingham City 1. So same outcome as when these two sides met in the league here last year. Chris Davis's men coming back strongly in the second half and taking the momentum out of Wrexham's sails with a goal that was scored just 20 seconds into the second period. George Dobson a little bit unlucky when trying to clear the ball, falling to the feet of Jay Stansfield, and he played a perfect slide rule pass into Patrick Roberts, who finished coolly beyond Arthur Okonkwo. Wrexham struggled to really fashion clear-cut chances in the second half. They had 3 appeals for penalties. We'll get Andy and Mia's thoughts on whether any of those was a serious claim in just a moment. But Birmingham looked the likelier, really, in the final third. Furuhashi on as a late substitute, denied by the linesman's flag, and Max Cleworth having to step in as last defender when, again, Furuhashi was ready to turn the ball home from point-blank range as Wrexham's defence again was stretched. So just a point for Phil Parkinson's side, their 3rd consecutive 1-1 draw, and Birmingham return to the Midlands with one of their own. Mia and Andy have been on co-coms alongside Mark Griffiths. Mia, a fair outcome, do you think?
In the end, I think obviously looking back at that first half, I think it's a real frustrating one for Wrexham in terms of still, not quite getting over that line in terms of that first home league win, which you felt like in the first half was going to happen tonight, I think. And again, I think you're looking back at those moments, that Lewis O'Brien chance in that first half is just massive, absolutely huge, and yeah, I think that their goal, it killed the momentum really, and so difficult to. You've just been given all these instructions, and obviously they would have been told how well they did in that first half, and then to immediately be hit by that, and it wasn't lucky as well. It's one of those, George Dobson, you see what he's trying to do, just sort of lash the ball away, maybe playing for that sort of bounce off him and try and win the throw in, and Stansfield's in a really good position in the middle, and then it's a really good run from Patrick Roberts, and really well finished, and not much really we could do about it. I think maybe kind of question Doyle in terms of tracking Roberts, but it's a really good run. So I wouldn't really do that, and then yeah, it just wasn't quite happening. I thought again, I thought the fans did really well to try and lift that atmosphere, particularly at the end, and try and push them onto something. But just those decisions, it wasn't flowing anywhere near as well as it was in that first half. And yeah, I think that comes from that sort of equaliser where it's just sort of killed that momentum and that intensity in many ways.
Andy, having managed and delivered plenty of half-time team talks, is it the case...
Out the window.
Well, perhaps. But I'm just interested, because Phil no doubt will have gone through specifics with the players. When you concede that quickly, 20 seconds is about as quick as it can be.
Yep.
Is there almost a switch in a player's brain that says, hang on, I've just been given a set of instructions. Now, do they all go out the window? Have we got to think differently about the game? It must be quite a shock to concede quite that soon after the resumption.
Yeah, I think it was quite fortuitous how Stansfield ended up with the ball, but the run is brilliant. The reverse pass is perfect for him to just run onto and put it in first time. So the goal is a really classy one for this level. Yeah, it's frustrating because it would have just the momentum that we had from the first half and the way that the changing room would have been at half time of just go again. We just go with the same intensity, the same endeavour. We've got people that can come on, to change the game if we need to, and to keep that momentum, and to do that in the first 20 minutes. It's just one of those, and we've got to try and find a way of going again. But I thought Birmingham had a lot more purpose in that second half. I thought they looked a lot more dangerous, played a lot more down the side of us, and a couple of crosses that went, and we defended quite well in the end. We had our moments, maybe a few poor decisions, maybe a few tired minds. I think more than that. At the end, they were just making the wrong decision at the wrong time that sort of led to it just petering out really for us.
And the wind didn't help either. It was swirling a lot, wasn't it? It was quite random. Occasionally a couple of goal kicks would look like they had sort of supercharge in them, and it was difficult to read it.
Yeah, and I think that played a part in it. And so, are we disappointed with the point? At home, of course. Are we happy with the point though as well? Yes, we'll take another point. It's 3 draws on the spin. It is still a bit of momentum. We could have won 1, lost 2. Is that better? I don't think so. I think we're sort of finding our feet again, like we've always said, and we're getting better. Are we better today than we were 2 weeks ago? Yes, I do believe we are.
1 defeat in 9, but just a point from proceedings. Let's have a look statistically at how the game played out, because what we saw at half-time when we reviewed the statistics was that Birmingham had 2/3 of the possession in the first half. Let's have a look at how that continued in the second. And actually Wrexham having a little bit more of the ball in the second half, but looking far less potent with it. Over the match, they had more shots, the home side, 12 to Birmingham's 8, same number of corners for both sides. Actually, a little bit surprised me that that possession stat has come back a little bit in Wrexham's favour in the second half. It didn't feel like Wrexham had more of the ball.
No, it didn't really, but then I think it was a bit of just chaotic at times, and you know there was moments where Birmingham were struggling to keep on the ball themselves, just in terms of the conditions. I thought it was a bit scrappy in terms of refereeing decisions as well. Just a few niggly sort of fouls that he did give and then wouldn't give, and that brought a lot of frustration for both sides. I could see. I think Lewis Kumas got booked for dissent. Chris Davis looked like he was going mad on the sideline as well. But yeah, it just turned into one of those ugly second halves, really. I think that's probably the best way to describe it. And, that's frustrating. But I agree with what Andy says. I think in the end, you sort of take the point and happily move on, because it could have been worse than that.
Interestingly there, and the aerial duels, Wrexham winning 76% to Birmingham's 24%. You'd have thought that kind of stat would set a bit of a pattern for the game. But again, it was difficult for Wrexham to hurt Birmingham this second half, wasn't it? O'Brien couldn't really get on the ball as much. Windass couldn't really influence as much, and what we were seeing in the first half with a lot of good attacking intent around the 18-yard area just didn't seem to be coming.
No, that's right. And I think because of the conditions, it's difficult to direct those aerial duels. When you're going up and you're getting a clear header on it, normally you'd be able to just cushion one to your mate, but you're watching it so vividly, if you like, onto your head. You're concentrating so much, you just don't know whether it's going to go to your teammate or not. So more than likely, I'm just going to get this clear and worry about it later. Yeah, more than...
Yeah, it was certainly a game in the second half where the pattern was hard to define. Birmingham getting that equaliser right at the start of the second period. 3 games, 3 draws. As Andy says, Mira, I think I would agree that the side that Wrexham are building here is becoming harder to beat. It's certainly not conceding as many goals as we saw. It's not quite such an all-action watch as earlier in the season. But do you think Phil Parkinson will be overall pleased that the style of play is becoming less open? Because it gives him, I suppose, a building block now to say, well, we've stopped conceding so readily. We've tightened up at that end. Now we can start thinking about trying to go through a gear or two a little bit more in the final third. Yeah,
and I think even tonight, obviously Birmingham created chances, but there wasn't necessarily, loads like we have seen, like you say, in the past few weeks. And obviously the goal, like we've touched on, was a bit of a, not fluke, because in the end they obviously work it well, but for them to get into that position, which they didn't actually manage, too many times, because we were so good at sort of blocking that space in terms of our two of Dobson and Sheaf in the middle on their two, and then one of those back three would step onto whether it was Stansfield or Dykes, and they did that so well, and it only came from that sort of deflection ball into him where we're just on the back foot and having to catch up a little bit. But no, like I say, I think there's again so many positives, and you can see the progress. I think I totally agree with what Andy says about the sort of tired minds. I think maybe we saw in the last 10 5 minutes that sort of Saturday, Tuesday, Friday sort of coming into action, and that's where now thankfully obviously they get that time off. I know obviously we've got a number of boys going away with Wales in Broadhead and Kieffer Moore, but you'd like to think now that we get to Stoke and we're fresh and raring to go again.
Callum Doyle's best game yet, would you say?
Yeah, I think they did well. I think Ryan Longman's been absolutely exceptional these past 3 games. I think he took it on, that, especially that first half. I thought he was a real threat going forward. He did his defensive duties brilliantly on Tuesday, and he's added to that. He looked after Roberts on the wing in that first half and really excelled going forwards as well. I think he's been excellent playing out of position on that opposite side. I think it's a difficult one when you're not used to where the wide line is, and you're going to use that. Your body orientation and your pitch geography is all over the place, but he still did brilliantly well, and his energy at the end, I think he was still going in with 10 minutes to go, and they ended up subbing him. But I think he's been brilliant, and like you say, Doyle coming in for Brunt, whether it was an injury to Brunt, I don't know, or a niggle or something. But yeah, he came in and was strong. I think his forward passing just adds us something a little bit different to what Brunt does at the moment.
And Libby Kakache was out warming up pre-match as well, so you'd think with a bit of a gap now until Stoke on the 18th, a good chance that the New Zealand international might be fit, certainly to come back into contention for that one. Ollie Rathbone's got a bit more time on the training ground as well, so he becomes a serious option as well post the international break.
Yeah, I think there'll be more a bounce game or something in this this period.
A bounce game?
Yeah, so it's just a friendly. Let's
right,
go friendly.
okay.
Or behind closed doors, or a reserve game, if you like. It doesn't matter really what you call it. It'll be a game for Rathbone, Thomason, all these lads that haven't that haven't played much, to just get minutes. But there may even be 2 for a couple of them, and then they'll have a good period of time where they can rest and ready for the Stoke game.
If you're just joining us on Match Day Live, it's finished Wrexham 1, Birmingham City 1 under the Friday night lights. The rain just about held off for the majority of the game, although it was swirling in the wind at times, and Storm Amy is clearly just starting to make its way towards North Wales. It's been rather difficult conditions for flowing football, but it was an intriguing battle between two teams who know each other so well from last season, but with a fair few new players adding some new dimension. There was plenty of spice for the 10,000 inside the Stoke Kairas to enjoy. Mia, Phil had spoken quite a lot in the week about wanting to really go off with some emphasis and some power towards the international break. And I understand Phil is now ready to talk to us. Will Pritchard putting the questions to Wrexham manager Phil Parkinson.
Do you want to go back into the mic?
Yeah, go.
Yeah. Phil, a point tonight against Birmingham City. How do you assess that one?
I thought first half we played well in difficult conditions. We got the goal. We've had 1 or 2 other moments to extend the lead, and I was very pleased with how we played. And just frustrating for us to concede straight after the break and from our kick-off. I mean, there's a little element of a ricochet as kind of broke to their lad, but then in and around the box, we've got to stay with that run, and we get punished for one moment, and then. With the third game in six days for both teams, that goal I thought gave them a lift, and we had some good periods in the second half, but we couldn't quite reach the levels of the first period. And but obviously they're a good side, and had some decent moments. So all in all, we'll take the point. The consistency we're showing is good, and obviously we've got to turn those draws into wins. But I'm confident we will. I think the goal knocked us. It knocked us. And we just kind of lack that real energy tonight to go and get that winner. But listen, all in all, it's been a tough week for us in terms of 3 games in 6 days, and the lads have given us a lot. They really have. They've given us a lot out on the pitch tonight. But we just we've got to look at ourselves in that moment straight after the break to give a team who I thought we had where we wanted them. But we've said that a few times here at home. We've had teams in great positions and in terms of could go and kill the game off, and that goal is a blow, as any goals are, but yeah, we just move on.
Set piece is crucial at any level, but how good was George Dobson's intuition to get his head to the ball first and put us ahead?
Yeah, brilliant. It's we knew they'd conceded, got chances from set plays this season, and we looked to exploit that, and we did. I'm not sure who got the first header, but yeah, Dobbo reacted brilliantly.
You speak about that consistency. That's now 5 games unbeaten in all competitions. That's something we can take into the international break and going forward back into the league action. Yeah,
I think you take the 1 defeat at QPR. I think it's 1 defeat in 8 games, and we've shown a good consistency level, and we're better at home than we were in the West Brom game, for instance, and the QPR game. The structure of the team is a lot better. I think we've improved in terms of teams being able to play through us. So I'm pleased with that work on the training ground, which is there for all to see. But obviously we're just frustrated because we've had another game tonight where we really had the opportunity to go and take all 3 points.
You've sort of alluded to it there, but how did conceding so early into the second half affect the half-time message?
well, it didn't affect the half-time message because the goal we conceded was after that. Half-time message was, come on, we've got to keep going. We could improve in little areas. We felt, but we felt we were in a good place, and we had to keep getting our passes in and being patient in that top third of the pitch, which we did brilliantly in the first period. And so that was the kind of message. We felt we were in a good place, but equally, we've got to start the game second half better than we did.
You mentioned before 3 games in 6 days, a difficult period that, but it does show the work on the training ground, and that fitness is there throughout the squad, doesn't it?
No, the lads are great. I'm enjoying working with all the new lads and the existing ones. They're a great group of lads. They care a lot. They're a bit flat in there because, after the win on Tuesday, you could see, in a really difficult night, you could see that game had taken our confidence to another level, and we really played well against a good Birmingham team for 45 minutes and periods in the second half. We played well, and then it just looked like 2 tired teams towards the end of the game.
Thank you, Phil.
Thank you.
Wrexham manager Phil Parkinson giving Matt Waters his post-match thoughts. Mia and Andy have been listening to Phil's reflections. Andy, what did you take out of Phil's comments?
Well, I think he's seen it like we've seen it, so I'm taking a little bit of a pat on the back for that one.
Take it, Andy, take it.
We've pretty much said that at the back end of the game, it was two tired teams that have had 3 games in 6 days or whatever it is, and they're tired, more in their minds. They can't think sharp, they can't do things like they want to do as quickly as they want to do, and so the game becomes scrappy and fractured, and that's what it looked like at the end of the game. I think the first half we were excellent, and going in at half time at 1-0 was flattering for Birmingham a little bit, because we could have been 2 with a glorious chance. And so, like Phil Parkinson says, we take it, we move on, and the group is getting better. We are getting better with the structure. That the boys are happier with the structure. They're understanding the structure that he's asking of them. Now, can we take that? Because I don't think we had a shot in the second half. Can you remember a shot in the second half? So those 12 that we had in the stats, all in so dominant in the first half.
If that's the case, then, Andy, I'm sure some fans will be thinking, well, 3 games in 6 days, players being tired, we've got a big squad. Was there not a case to make earlier changes tonight, or perhaps changes in personnel in the starting 11, knowing that perhaps in the latter part of the game players might reasonably tire?
Yes, but I think he's still trying to get to know his team and the formation, and the lads that have done so well in these previous 2 games. I think he's gone, no, let's stick with it because they know it, they understand it. Broadhead's come off the bench and done exceptionally well in the last couple of games. Can he do that for us again? It's sort of a blueprint for how we've got our results in the previous 2. He will be at home tonight, Phil Parkinson, I'm sure, with a glass of wine, thinking, maybe should have started Broadhead, maybe should have. And it always happens, because you always look back and review what you have done. But I think it was the right thing to do, was to go with the same team, put them out again and go on then, but you've got to give me everything, and I can then make the changes off the back of that.
Mia, as we kind of end this first block of the season, what will be the areas do you think that Phil Parkinson thinks that's my next area to focus to try and ratchet up another level?
It's interesting. I think the ones who came off the bench, and we talked about strength and depth, they did really well on Tuesday. I think tonight we were just missing that. Now, obviously, that's not necessarily on the ones coming on, because at that point it was quite flat. I think he did try to make those changes earlier, and then the sort of Dom Hyam sort of challenge sort of threw that a little bit. I think Sam Smith was changed, ready to come on,
wasn't he?
Ready
to
go sit back down.
Yeah.
And that changes things. But no, going forward, I think there's more positives than negatives, which I think maybe a few weeks ago he would have been worried it might have been the other way round. And the progress is really good. I think just working on that sort of home form, I think, is probably top of the list in terms of we've seen it now where the last few weeks we're getting better and better and closer. We've just got to get over the line and get that first W here, because once you get that, Phil has spoken about it before, making this place that fortress that it has been for the last number of years, and getting that feeling again that in those last minutes of a game we're going to get something, and it's going to happen. It's not a maybe, it's not an if, it's going to happen here, and those fans will sort of grab that ball into the back of the net for us.
I thought the fans were excellent today. I thought they were noisy from the start. When we were walking back round from here to our co-coms, they were noisy before the game, and then they were really ratcheted up when we got in about 10 minutes in, when we started to have Longman in the game and have his shots. The crowd was up and going, and I thought the first half they were brilliantly noisy, and they tried in the second half to get us going, but it's hard to push a body that's got nothing to give left, and unfortunately we just didn't have enough to get over that line.
If you're just joining us on Matchday Live, Wrexham 1, Birmingham City 1 is the full-time result here. We'll get some reaction from one of the Wrexham players very shortly, so please stay with us for that as we pick over the bones from this evening's battle in difficult conditions here in North Wales. Wrexham, of course, have a significant break until they're next in action after tonight, Saturday the 18th of October, and the nearest away trip of the season is in prospect already. All the tickets snapped up, just over 3,000, as Wrexham make the short journey to the Britannia Stadium to face Stoke City. So that is on Saturday the 18th of October. Our next Matchday Live will be the following Wednesday night. Oxford United are in town, a rare Wednesday night home fixture, and that is a 7:45 kickoff. So we'll be back for that one on Matchday Live. I think, Mia, if Wrexham fans have kind of walked out the stadium tonight with a sense of a team that is evolving, the question, I suppose, for many of them will be now a sense of perspective, really. What might be achievable this season? They've seen an influx of many new players, a slightly choppy start, then a decent run, certainly of draws, with a couple of very good wins in there, particularly away from home. Of course, opinions will vary, but for the average fan, if there is such a thing, what would you think the aspiration might be from what we know now about the Wrexham squad and the division as to where things might all finish come April?
Yeah, I think it's really hard to say, isn't it? Because, you know, we know, like we touched on before, how competitive this competition, this league is, and just how quickly it can change. You know, even if you're winning all your games, you look around you still find yourself close to other people, and at the end of the season, you know, like you said earlier on about how, you know, I think, you know, majority of the sides in the competition were either still in reach of those playoffs or in reach of relegation, and it's just relentless, really, and non-stop. But, you know, I think for me, I'm just personally speaking as a fan myself, I'm just thinking just stay above that relegation zone and just stay in this league and try and compete as much as we can. But listen, I do think the expectations are probably slightly going up over the last few weeks between most people, and rightly so, because, you know, that's exactly how it should be when you do spend the money you spend. But, you know, you've still got to be patient with it, and I think that's the other thing, you know, in terms of expectations going up. Keep the expectations going up, but steadily, and, you know, be patient, because it's still a very new side, and yes, we've still got those experienced players who know this club very well, but, you know, you've got to take your time with that. And, you know, listen, we haven't been in this division for a very long time. We're coming up against some of these big clubs. I mean, obviously Stoke next, the likes of your Birmingham, you know, Millwall's, Derby's. It's relentless. Like I say, it's, you know, a massive club every week, basically every few days on some occasions. So, you know, I think it's hard to sort of place expectations, really, because no one really knows what to expect.
And also, just to give it a little bit of a sense of historical context, if Wrexham had won that game tonight, I'm reliably informed by someone who I really trust in terms of knowing the club's intricate history, that would have been the highest league position in Wrexham's history. Because the previous times when we've been up in the second tier, we've struggled and have ultimately were relegated again. So that would have been the highest position in the club's league history had we won the game tonight. And that just shows the journey we're on, but also what is being achieved continually. Even if tonight, as people walk out, there might be a sense of disappointment in the air that the match has been drawn and not won.
Yeah, I think after the first 4 games, I'd be like, if we can stay in this league, then we've done brilliantly. But now I think that's evolved to, we are competitive in this league. We've played some good teams in Leicester and Birmingham that are vowed to do well in this league this season, and we've been really competitive with them in both, and could have maybe nicked a wins in both, really. And so I think I've had mine a little bit more adjusted to say that, no, I think we're competitive in this league now, and we're going to be hard to beat, and we're going to be a match for some teams in this league. And I think, you know, if we can get mid-table and above there, then I think that's been an absolutely brilliant season with what the evolution has happened in the summer.
I don't think, sorry Chris, I don't think as well it's not necessarily just what the people in the stadium think, but also people on the pitch and how those sort of change. Obviously, we know players and staff will be aiming for the absolute, you know, top, as they have done,
of course,
you know, in terms of how professional they are. But, you know, just that confidence, like Phil Parkinson talks about, you know, going to these places like Carrow Road, the King Power on Tuesday night, even, you know, having Birmingham at home and getting results like they have done, that gives them a boost, that gives them that confidence in themselves, that they think, you know what, actually we've been there and done that now, so let's go again and succeed even more.
The challenge, I guess, will be making sure that some of the potentially weaker sides in the division, the Oxford Uniteds, perhaps Portsmouths, are beaten when they come here. And Oxford United, of course, will come here next after that trip to Stoke City after the international break. I'll let Mia and Andy step out for a moment because looking very smart coming in with his Wrexham training wear on. We've got George Dobson. I like the jacket, George. That's very smart. Is that a new one?
Yeah, a couple of weeks.
Very good. Very well. Congratulations on the goal. Nice to see you again on Matchday Live this evening. Talk us through the goal itself.
Yeah, well, I'm not normally in the box, so it was a bit of a different one. Obviously, working yesterday and training on the set pieces, but yeah, just being told to be alive to the second phase, and obviously Maxi done really well, winning the first. And yeah, I don't know if it was going in. I haven't seen it back yet, but nodded it in, and yeah, really happy with it.
Gets you underway for the season, George, personally. Now, you haven't missed a minute yet of league football this season. What have you particularly learnt about your own game as you've adapted up to the Championship?
I knew it was going to be really tough challenge personally in terms of stepping up because I've not done it yet. So watching a lot of games in the past and seeing the quality of players, I knew I was going to have to up my game to stay around obviously the quality players we're bringing in. And yeah, just trying to take each game as it comes really as an opportunity to keep pushing and hopefully stay in the team for as long as possible because, yeah, all the games they're just fantastic games really, like the away games and here at home. We're just, the quality of the games are so high, and the games as a player you want to test yourself and play in.
Playing in central midfield, George, at this level, what do you notice most is different against League One?
I'd say the quality of the punishment to mistakes, I'd say. I think there's a lot of games so far, you'd probably look at it and if we'd performed how we did last season, would be winning a lot of these games, but at the minute we seem to be drawing them because of those fine margins from little errors. But I think it shows we're not far away in terms of, if you look at the results, only one defeat in 8, and it's close to being a team that can be winning consecutive games and really kicking on up the table. So I think it's a really good opportunity now to carry on working over the international break, rest up because it's been demanding schedule, and yeah, really try and kick on before then the next international break.
Just take us into the dressing room post Leicester and then post today. Similar or a different vibe?
A different feel, to be fair. Leicester, we felt like we really had the ascendancy in the second half and scored the goal, and Broady had a couple of chances where we probably could have nicked it. Today, I felt first half there was lots of positives, obviously going in 1-0 up, and then yeah, just really disappointed in the way we started the second half. But then after that, I would say it was probably a game where we probably didn't have quite as much control. Still had chances to win it as did they, so I'd probably say it was more of a fair result, but they've got some really good players, so you have to respect them as well. But we know we need to be trying to turn these draws into wins, and as I said earlier, it just shows that the tightness of the league is really close.
What's it going to take, do you think, George, to turn these draws into wins?
Well, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think we've created one of the most chances in the league. I know all our attacking stats have been really high, and we've obviously scored in every game. But we've just probably conceding goals that are too soft, goals that we didn't concede last season, and we just know that these are the details that win you the game, and for us, I think we just need to get back to that real ruthless defensive nature that served us so well last season, and if we can produce that with the attacking threat we've got at the minute, it'll create a good formula. So like I said, I really don't think we're far away. I really don't, from being a really strong team and causing lots of teams problems. So yeah, we just know there's little things to work on, but as I said, that there is plenty of positives.
And just finally, George, a couple of weeks off now before Stoke due to the international break. How will you personally use your time in that period? Will you get some proper downtime, or are you still going to be working hard on your fitness, etc.?
Yeah, still be working hard. I've got a baby coming any minute. So,
have you?
Yeah,
oh, wow. Excellent.
So that'll be a madhouse. But yeah, I'm sure we'll get a few days off to rest and recharge, because, as I said, it's been a very demanding schedule. And then, yeah, full focus turns to a really busy schedule again when we get back, and yeah, try and climb the league.
Excellent. Have you got a nursery to paint? Already done it?
Already done it.
Oh, well done. Good planning, George. Well, all the best with that.
Thank
anyway.
you very
Have
much.
a good couple of weeks.
Cheers.
Lovely to see you, George. George Dobson, Wrexham midfielder and goal scorer tonight in Wrexham's 1-1 draw with Birmingham City, and soon to be dad for the second time. So good to see George on Match Day Live here this evening. Well, giving a good sense of perspective, I think, George, there, Andy, and his thoughts.
Yeah, absolutely, and top guy, and somebody that, for me, that has surprised me this season. You know, going in, I don't think anybody had him down as in the first 11 if everybody was fit, but he's absolutely took that opportunity and ran with it. I think he's been brilliant. He's covered every blade of grass in every game that he's played. Like you say, he's not missed a minute, and I just think he looks fitter, he looks hungrier, and even with the ball, he just looks a little bit sharper with the ball even than he did last year. And I think he knew that coming in, because he's not played at this level, and he wants to prove that he can do it at this level. And for me, in the first 9 games, he's been one of the best 3 for me.
Mia, I guess George Dobson will be looking back with pride, rightly so, in the first few weeks of the season. For Phil, he's now got George Thomason fit again. Ben Sheaf is settling into the side. Matty James is still getting plaudits when he comes off the bench. Plenty of options for Phil as we go into the next phase, and Ollie Rathbone as well. So can you fit all those midfielders into a 3-4-2-1?
No. No, you can't. But, you know, I think at the moment you can't take really any of the 3 current starters out, and you know, that's all credit to them, because they've been superb. I think obviously Ben Sheaf coming in straight away, making that impact, and you know, he's been really impressive since coming in. Obviously still working on that fitness, hence why he's, you know, having to come off maybe a few minutes you know, earlier than he usually would. You know, over the years he's often, you know, doing the full 90, but you know, with someone like Matty James coming on in his place, then that's worked quite well. But you know, for someone like George Dobson, I totally agree with Andy. I think he's just blown everyone's socks off, really, in terms of how well he's embraced, how well he started this season and embraced this season in terms of that step up to the Championship. And you know, I'm so happy for him, because you know, he spoke to us a number of times last year on Matchday Live, and he's a great character, he's a great person, but he's also a brilliant footballer, and someone who you know, absolutely you know, sort of shows what it means to pull on a Wrexham shirt, how hard he works, you know, the grafting he puts in every single game. Like Andy says, you know, covers every blade of grass. That's the absolute sort of epitome of what he epitomises. But then, you know, you look at someone like Ollie Rathbone and you think, well, after how well he did last season, exactly. I think, you know, tonight you're watching it, you're thinking, oh, I wish we had Rathbone off the bench, you know, to come on and just inject that bit of energy, because it just spreads like wildfire. But that's what all them sort of 3 have done so far. Lewis O'Brien and George Dobson in particular have led that charge, and like I say, it spreads across the team then, and he just sets the standard ever so well.
I think the change in shape has helped George, especially going into the 2 sitters, because I know Sheaf's the one that mainly stays, or Matty James is the one that stays in front, but Dobson can do both. He can be there, but he can also help out his full-backs or his wing-backs, if you like, when they do go out of position, and he can cover and put those fires out there. And yeah, he just reads the game really well, and has done superb, and long may it continue.
Andy Meir, thank you very much as ever for your thoughts this evening. Andy, we won't see you sadly for the next Matchday Live against Oxford, but we look forward to seeing you again very, very soon.
I'll tell you all about it. I'm going away, so going on holiday.
We're very envious, but enjoy yourself. We look forward to a nice tan when you come back, and hopefully 1 or 2 souvenirs as well, if you've got any space in your luggage. Don't worry, folks, we've got a decent replacement lined up, someone I think you might recognise and perhaps enjoy. Mia, thank you too for your thoughts this evening. So, on a windy and swirling rain night in North Wales, Wrexham battled hard against old adversaries Birmingham City. It wasn't to be, though, tonight for Phil Parkinson's side. That elusive first home win remains just out of grasp, but after 3 hard-working draws against 3 strong Midland sides in recent weeks, Wrexham are showing they are becoming more than competitive at this level and go into the international break in a solid position in the Championship. We'll be back on Match Day Live in just over a couple of weeks' time. Oxford United on the 22nd of October. The next foes here at the Stoke Kai Ras. Until then, enjoy the international break and the games that come in between. And here's hoping when we return here, Wrexham can get underway with their first 3 points of the season. Thanks for being with us here tonight. Diolch yn wylio. We'll see you in a couple of weeks. Bye for now.